How is everyone doing out there? Hope you're all staying safe. We're working on it here. Oh man, what a week. I haven't been here since Wednesday. It's been a bit crazy with end of the year stuff going on at school, so it's nice to be back here just taking care of myself, working on me. And that's what we're going to do. Tonight's going to be really simple. Just going back to the kettlebell basics, if you will. Mainly a lot of swinging tonight. I'm just going to get warmed up here. Put glasses off. Oh, do some halos. But aside from, before we get into negative things going on here in LA, let's talk about the positive things. We got one more day of school tomorrow. Friday night was the talent show at the kids' school. Both of my kids performed their own dance routines that they came up completely on their own. Very proud of them for that. And what was really great about seeing all these kids in the talent show was how absolutely supportive they were of each other when it came to kids talking to each other about being nervous. Kept hearing fourth graders saying to the first grader, it's like, no, you're going to kill it. Everyone that's gone up has been nervous, and they've all done great. You're going to do great. So it was really nice to hear, really encouraging, and gave me a little bit more hope for the future. So that was a good time. Some birthday celebrations over the weekend. Got to go see seriously? How to drop that name? The Roots, there we go. Saw The Roots last night at the Hollywood Bowl. Took us back to 1995. Saw the Little Goody Mob, Mobb Deep, Lil' Kim. Pretty nice. Pretty nice show. And in case you're asking, how can you do those things with the protests going on in the city? Well, you can do that too. Hopefully things will start calming down here in LA, even though our president is keen on escalating it. But there's not much I can do about that right in this moment. But I will say, I'm rather surprised more people aren't taking lacrosse sticks to protests. So I really feel like it'd be a lot easier to scoop up and throw back smoke canisters with a lacrosse stick. Take a tennis racket and bounce them back. Just some ideas. You know, I'm not saying you should do that. I'm just surprised I don't see more people doing that. That's all. All right. Let's swing around here. So tonight's going to be more of a swing dominant workout. These are actually one of the training protocols I use getting ready for my first StrongFirst certification. use this to wake the brain up a little bit more. Sometimes working out this late at night. Generally helps if you have a kettlebell, so to use kettlebells. Can't leave them back on the rack. Doesn't really work out too well for you. Alright, I'm going to start with just a few single leg deadlifts. This tends to be a pretty big nemesis for quite a lot of people. So if you're trying to follow along with this at home, one second, let me turn these lights up a little bit more back here. Alright. So RDLs, Romanian deadlifts, single leg deadlifts. Come in here, up, and down. Now, these tend to be a bit of an issue for quite a few people due to balance and things like that. So if you're having a hard time with your Romanian deadlift, or your single leg Romanian deadlift, we talk about this a lot in Pilates as well. Focus on the box of your body, right? One of the things you don't want is you don't want to be here with the shoulder down. You want the shoulder squared up. From the side, really making sure that this hip is actually down, right? And not open. Because that is going to throw off your balance the entire time. So I'm just going to turn sideways here. 1, 2, and 3. Also, a lot of people try to not touch the floor with that back leg. And they want to come up and balance here like this and then go back down. I don't recommend that. Always bring that leg down. So good. Right in the hamstrings. All right. One last little get up here, or I guess maybe more of a get down in this case, who knows. Okay. Making sure I'm not going to smash my head on a reformer. Well, in this case, I wanted to share. All right. The good news is, tonight I remembered chalk. It's one of the few times I actually miss having my Fitbit. It doesn't. I like knowing what my heart rate is at. Literally with just like a quick glance at my wrist, not having to do math, you know. Do 5 dead stop swings here. I think we're ready. So the first exercise is going to be 15 two-handed swings. And again, this is just more about building up a little cardio endurance. So you can tell already a little out of breath. Like I said, I haven't worked out in 5 days with all this end of the year stuff. So when you've taken some time off, it's good to get back into the basics or something you're very familiar with. This is something I'm very familiar with, and it's a basic. And it's just very swing dominant. And we've done swing dominant workouts before, but this one just kind of moves right along. So we'll do 15 two-handed swings here. Now, here's the dangerous side of working out. As I hit number 6, I was thinking to myself, I could do more weight. And I can. I know I can. But the important thing to remember, especially after coming back, taking a few days off, it's not so much about what you can do, it's what you can recover from. So, I could be doing these swings with a 40 kilogram kettlebell. I could be doing these overhead presses with a 28 kilogram kettlebell, or making push presses with a 40. However, I don't want to deal with DOMS, which you don't know what DOMS are, it's delayed onset muscle soreness. It's a really fancy way of saying I'm achy. And on top of that, the big part is I want to make sure that I can work out again tomorrow. So tomorrow for me it would be more a day of like animal flow or Pilates. But I don't want to be so sore that I don't want to do anything. Or so sore that I feel like I need to lay out for another 5 days and not do anything. So just remember, focus on what you can recover from, not necessarily on what you can do. All right, 5 overhead presses. Swing switch here. Now, I will say, I have not been doing any training as far as Pilates or kettlebells, or even animal flow for that matter. But I've been doing a ton of bike riding. So I've at least had that going for me. I haven't just been a complete lazy slug the past few days. Had a chance to actually ride around. Rode our bikes last night to the Hollywood Bowl to see the routes. So that's nice. It's a good little uphill ride there. And if you live in LA and you happen to live close enough to be able to ride your bike there, I cannot recommend that enough actually, because it is a lot easier to get out at the end as opposed to being stuck in the traffic or waiting for your Uber, because they still haven't gotten that shit figured out there. But you can ride 4 to 6 miles. Highly recommend it. All right, 5 single arm swings on each side. Here we go. But, you know, cycling's not enough. So you gotta keep figuring out how to get these in throughout the day. And I'm not saying these as excuses. If you have kids, you understand it's just end of the year shit you have to deal with. So, you know, try to be there for them as much as you can. Try not to neglect yourself in the process, but I figure we can all take a week off every once in a while. Now, I think a lot of people sit there and they want to train like an athlete. Right? Well, that's fine, do that. But you know, athletes have off seasons, and if they're injured, then they're on the side not playing. They're still doing 6 to 8 hours of work a day to get back on the floor or back out in the field as fast as possible. But I say all that because there are times in your life when you're going to be working out, you're going to be on a good, steady roll, and then you have to take a week off for whatever reason. And it's really easy for a lot of us to beat ourselves up at that time, like, I can't believe I fucking missed that. I was so lazy. Should have done this instead, should have done that. But instead, think of it as it's your rest week. It's no big deal. Maybe you have to change your training time around, so where you work out for 6 weeks, take a week off, and try to line that up with a busy event you got coming up. But most of the time, you can't line up like that. You can't line up when your kid's gonna get sick and get the entire family sick and you're all knocked out for a week. So we're doing front squats, 5 on each side. You just take it 1 week at a time. Whew. Squats every fucking time. So, I tell these little stories just to waste time and help me catch my breath again, but I used to not be a fan of squats. I used to not be a fan of squats until they helped me get rid of my sciatic nerve pain. And when I was going through my flight certification fucking 12 years ago, Rachel and I lived here in LA, and I did not have a car. Let me rephrase that. We did not have a car. So I rode my bike everywhere. And because I was riding my bike everywhere, I thought I did not need leg day. But then I kept getting sciatic nerve pain on the right side because I ride a fixed gear bike, so constantly moving, having that leg go off to the side a little bit sometimes, I realized. Just got that, the psoas, the piriformis inflamed, pushing around that sciatic nerve, dropping down the leg. Started working with a trainer after in Chicago. Started doing squats, went down one day, heard a little pop. Haven't felt a single issue since. So, I believe what that was me actually retraining my body to use my gluteus maximus as opposed to my piriformis, trying to press. But, long story short, I love squats because they help protect the rest of my body. So, I guess you should love them too. All right, let's do 20 alternating swings. You don't have to, really, it's up to you. I don't give a shit. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Shit, just got sweat in my eye. 9, 10, 11. I need a John McEnroe headband. 12, 13, 14, 15. 18, 19, 20. Whew. Oh, man. Sweating your eyes, fucking worst. I mean, I've heard rumors that other things are worse, but I don't know. But working in WeHo, I've heard a lot. Whew. Next, it's going to be a Turkish get up on each side. As soon as I can stop huffing and puffing. One day I'm going to put whiskey in there. Someday. Maybe tonight. Who knows? Alright. Tell me a second. We're going to do get up on each side, followed by 15 two-handed swings, followed by 5 snatches on each side, followed by 5 single arm swings. Then take a little break, probably run through all that again, but at that point, while I'm trying to catch my breath from all that fun stuff, we're going to go over the difference in how we breathe for Pilates and how we engage our core, or classical Pilates we refer to as the powerhouse, and how we want to breathe when we're doing weight training. Just so you can kind of have those points of reference and why it's good to keep it consistent when you're doing those modalities. All right. Yeah, sorry. Here we go. Well, I'm going to turn my back to you. Do I want to do that? No, I don't. I'll bring this up here. We'll do this side instead. It's just the easiest way to do that. Love that exercise too. One of the things that helped me get and understand that exercise better was that piece of equipment right there. The Wonder Chair is perfect for helping with that kind of stuff. And then we'll go over some of that on Wednesday. So, alright. Going back to 15 two-handed swings. That's the way you catch your breath there. Alright, here we go. What else? What else has been going on? You know, it's been a weird year out here in LA. Started the year off with the fires. We got protests downtown. A lot of people on edge, rightfully so. A lot of people not quite understanding why this shit has to continue to happen. But if you have friends and family that live here in LA, don't worry, right now those protests are not really, unless they live downtown, those protests are not too close to them. A lot of times people get Los Angeles City and Los Angeles County confused. The city, or sometimes called LA proper, is where a lot of this is happening. I am in LA City, where I live. We are not too close to downtown though. But then you have LA County, which is fucking Santa Monica, Malibu, all the way east and north, Altadena, Palisades. So when people were getting really angry at Karen Bass back in January for the fires, she's not the mayor of the Palisades. She's not the mayor of Altadena. The person to be angry with are the county commissioners. And they're the ones that didn't do much. She took the heat. I am not by any means rushing in to her defense, but I am pointing out the fact that we here in this city, most people do not know the difference. Most people can sit there and tell you who Karen Bass is. I doubt they can tell you who one sitting commissioner for the county is. And considering the county has more power than the city, it's probably handy information for us to have. So, there you have it. All right, snatches. Whew. All right. Now we're good. Just keep an eye on the news alerts. But, you know, normally, during our time together, we hear quite a few fire engines going by here, so haven't heard any of that, so that must be good news, right? Alright, 5 single arm swings, and take a quick little break and kind of talk about the difference in the way that we engage our abs for Pilates and engage our abs for weight training. Alright, 5 single arm swings. I don't know why I started alternating, but 3, 4. All right, that'll work. That's good. So, when we talk about breathing, everyone loves to talk about breath all the time, which is fine, because it needs to be talked about, and it needs to be explained in the way that people actually can grasp it and understand it. So there's a couple different ways we can think about this, but I found the most effective if you think of the relation between your ribs and the top of your hip, right? when I'm doing a deadlift with this kettlebell, the last thing I want is for my back to be able to bend, right? I don't want to come in here and around that. So that I inhale, I'm creating intra-abdominal pressure here in my core, and then I always kind of squeeze like I'm trying to bring my bottom rib and the top of my hips a little closer together. So if I were going to get punched in the stomach, I could. I wouldn't want to. That's no fun. My son loves to do that for whatever reason, but I digress. So when I engage my core like that, it's 360-degree pressure basically. Right? I can't bend. And so another way to think about it is if you take your bicep, right, and you squeeze your bicep, right, and really flex it. You can't open your arm until you relax that bicep, right? Until then you're just flexed and it's not moving. That's kind of what we want, basically, so that I can hinge at the waist, but I can't really bend at my lower back. I could if I wanted to force it. I don't recommend that. So that's how we want to breathe when we're doing weight training and heavy lifting, right? I'm sorry, that's how we want to engage our abs, right? Why I keep saying breath is because when you think about breathing with that, you may have heard it every single time I'm going to clean the kettlebell. I inhale, and then I hold my breath. So I'm maintaining that pressure. As I clean the kettlebell, I might let out a little bit of air, and then when I go to press it, I inhale again, hold my breath as it comes up, so maybe a small exhale down, but I'm never completely letting the air out. I'm keeping that intra-abdominal pressure, keeping this pressed down, my diaphragm down, right? So I inhale, squeeze. I'm not exhaling, I'm not letting air out. If I need to let more air in, quickly inhale through the nose. With Pilates, there's the sirens, they must have heard me. In Pilates, we want to make sure the body can move in the directions that we want. So we want to be able to go into flexion. We want to be able to go into extension. A lot of side bending as well. But when we breathe, Go on. But when we're breathing for Pilates, we're inhaling while we exercise because there's no load in the sense of weight, right? So I don't need to keep my core engaged to protect my body. I'm trying to engage my core to make my powerhouse stronger. Mainly, we focus on the transverse abdominals. So, as I inhale, I'm not letting the diaphragm drop. So if you've ever been to a Pilates class and you're going to say, pull your belly button in and up. What they're trying to say, for lack of a better term, is, well, I don't think it's lack of a better term, that's why I use this instead. Create as much distance between your ribs and the bottom of the top of your hip, right? So, weight training, short, quick inhale, hold. For Pilates, we do long breaths. So it's, and as I exhale, I keep this in. So now I'm creating as much distance between my ribs and my hip. And I'm trying to maintain that distance, right? So when we talk about a two-way stretch in Pilates, where I'm driving the crown of my head to the ceiling and driving my feet through the floor, I'm actively trying to lengthen, I'm lengthening my spine, right? And I can lengthen my spine because, unlike, say, a back squat, here, I'll just pull this little bar over for an example. If I'm doing a barbell back squat, and I have this right below my C7, right? I don't want to elongate my spine, because if something goes wrong, that's going to be really bad. So, here, now I'm protecting everything I have, right? Everything in my spine, my core is tight. I would come down and up. I don't want to do, right? I don't want to be able to move, so I need this to stay nice and tight. Now, with that being said, the other way you can kind of visualize this difference is with in the world of bodyweight training and weightlifting, a hollow hold, and compared to what we call in Pilates, the position for the 100. So with your hollow hold, and yeah, I know, I'm kind of gone way off topic from time-wise, but that's okay. So for a hollow hold, this is great for like when you go to practice your position for pull-ups or anything, or even just hold, maybe just some weightlifting here. I am doing that intraabdominal pressure, right? I'm letting this kind of inhale, and now it's tight here. Really, you can see me shaking. Everything's kind of going crazy, and I'm holding. When we do the 100 in Pilates, as opposed to pressing out, I'm letting this come in so I can curl here, and now I'm trying to hit mainly the transverse abdominals, and you can see I'm shaking quite a bit here. But this looks a little different as opposed to that, as opposed to this. See how I got longer here? So we do that in Pilates when we pump arms with 100 at the beginning of mat work, or on a reformer, or on a Calac, or if your instructor is just kind of an asshole. But all that to say, the way you breathe and engage your core during these different modalities actually does matter. Now, that being said, there are going to be Pilates people out there that sit there and will tell you to inhale when I would tell you to exhale. That's another conversation for another time. But let's get back to this. All right. Now this time my goal is to take less breaks between each exercise. So going back to 15 two-handed swings. Generally, the second set tends to go a little more smoothly for me. Just kind of got the hard stuff out of the way. The knocking the rust out, if you will. All right. 5 overhead presses on each side. Yeah, I'm good. My favorite way of describing how to inhale for Pilates, I'm assuming most people watching right now are at least of age. Imagine you're taking a hit off a joint. So as you inhale for the 100, it's exhale, right? As opposed to, like, you're not going to inhale like that. So again, just a simple little reminder of how to do things a little differently. Sometimes the bad examples are the best examples because that's what you remember. All right, here we go. 5 single arm swings. think we all know what I'm going to do when I go home tonight. Eat dinner. Whew. Which I actually cannot wait to do. All right. 5 front squats on each side. Notice the panting is not nearly as bad the second round as it was the first round. So, doesn't mean I'm back, but you know, close. Well, just kidding. All right, let's do these 20 alternating swings. I think one of the things I might do is get like a whiteboard widget and start writing the workout on there. But honestly, I feel like it just starts getting too cluttered. So if that's something people would want, let me know. I can follow along a little bit easier instead of waiting for me to just say it out. But all right, let's do a get up on each side. I think the get up is another example of proper abdominal engagement. So, what I mean by that is when I'm here, I create that intra-abdominal pressure because when I'm rolling up, it's not a crunch. Right? I'm driving my hip and rotating to the side. So this stays pretty straight. Right? My hip is in alignment with my shoulder. Right? And I come back down here. So if I wasn't creating that intra-abdominal pressure, I could curl up. That would be a little different and not necessarily something I want to risk. But that's just me. I'm sure there are people out there who will be like, I love doing it. Great, good job. Got a little dizzy on that one. I broke my own rule. I looked in the mirror. Don't ever make eye contact with yourself in the mirror. It'll fuck you up every single time. Alright. Do 15 two-handed swings, another set of snatches, and single arm swings, and we're out. A nice little return to basics workout. One of the things I just, as I said at the top of the hour, we've been away for a few days, doing something simple that you know, that you're really comfortable with a lighter weight than you want to be using. It's going to be a lot safer and help you get back in it even more. Here we go. 'll also say, with all the nonsense going on here in LA, it is stressful, it is worrisome. We don't know how it's going to escalate. Hope it won't escalate. But all the more reason for me to actually exercise and work out is for the mental health aspect of it. So there's a lot of shit going on right now. And this is one of the very few things I do for myself that helps keep me sane. So, only that in therapy, but that's another conversation for another time. But this definitely helps and helped get me to therapy to begin with. So, all right, 5 snatches on each arm. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like that snatch switch. A lot more comfortable with that. And really, the necessity of it is bragging rights. I can do it. I really do think that's the truth of that, to be honest with you. It's fun to do. It's fun to play around with. Is it going to make my sessions of snatching better? Not necessarily. But, it's fun. And if it's not fun, it's just not worth doing. So, alright. 5 single arm swings on each arm. And then, that's probably going to be it for the night. So, see what happens. Alright. 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Now, it's summer. Well, officially school gets out tomorrow for LUSD. But the fun part about that means that there's a really good chance for the next couple of weeks my kids will be here with me, one or both, playing around, and you know, see if we can't get them to show us their amazing dance moves and hang out with us and have a good time. So who knows? Either way, Jonathan will not be here with me on Wednesday. He'll be doing his Jonathan things. So it's just going to be me, possibly a child, in here having a good time. And yeah, we'll take it from there. So thanks for tuning in. I will see you Wednesday night. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. LA, keep it up. Take care of each other while you're out on the street. My love to you and to all of you. I'm out of here.